Hey, so today I wanted to talk a little bit about uneven facial features and correcting them. This might be not what? This might not be something that you like focus on, but whether you find that things that you're doing, like maybe you're not contouring your nose, you're doing your eyebrows, which is what we're gonna be focusing on today, and you're like, no matter what I do, they always look uneven. Or you might feel like what you're doing is making them look even more uneven. Even if it's not something that you're focused on, even if you're not necessarily like trying to, correct certain things, you might be like, oh, when I put bronzer on my nose or when I do my eyebrows, it makes them look like so much more uneven than I think they are. So I just wanted to give you some tips and tricks on, how to prevent that. So we're gonna start off with the brows. Actually, let's start off with the nose. Okay, so when I look at my nose, it does go this way a little bit more. It's not quite straight. I have talked about, contouring before, but those are things that you want to keep in mind. So typically when you're contouring a nose, you are trying to, straighten it out a little bit, maybe make it look a little bit smaller, whatever. But something that I have to keep in mind, because when I turn like this, it goes out a little bit more. When I turn like this area goes in a little bit more. So I have this little bump right here, but then this goes in. So if I just darken the sides, it's not gonna do anything. It's kind of just going to define my nose, but it's not going to correct those bumps. So, what product am I using? So I'm gonna be using this little guy from Giorgio Armani. This is the A Contour in, I think, shade number 21. And I'm just gonna be using this little brush from ColourPop. A small brush is best. So I kind of always just like to lift the tip of my nose. So that's not really uneven. So let's just start there. All right, now when it comes to doing my nose, I like to start off with the side that has a little bit more of a curve. So I'm gonna take this little guy, it's got like a little lip gloss applicator thing. And I like to bring the line in a little bit. So I'm kind of cutting off that bump. This is a great product because it's very, very, very sheer. So you put it down, you think it's gonna be a lot, but it's not. So I'm gonna focus it down on the tip and then just kind of like diffusing that line. Because what I'm trying to do is hide that bump. I'm trying to make my nose look a little bit more narrow. So, when I go like this, you can see my nose goes in a little bit more, so we're kind of like trying to fake that on this side. So I'm gonna diffuse that line a little with my concealer sponge, go back in with my brush and kind of buff that out. So I'm gonna leave it a little unblended just so you can see, the line. But if we're looking straight ahead, you can kind of see that this shadow matches up with this side, right? So I don't want to just do that because it's going to look weird. So now what I'm going to do is take a tiny bit on this side, but I'm only going to focus it right here. So this area goes in, so I don't want to touch that because it's just going to make that look a little bit more uneven. So I'm going to focus it here, and then I'm going to take whatever's left out over and take it up onto the bump up here. Kind of do the same thing, bring that line in and try to minimize that area. So I went in and diffused those lines a little bit more. But if you have uneven areas of your nose and you've been contouring and you've just been putting like straight lines, then hopefully this will help. Next, I want to talk about brows. I'm gonna real zoom in. Ooh. All right, now the reason that I think eyebrows and noses are so important is because it's right in the center of your face and it kind of creates the guide for like how you're gonna do your eyeshadow and everything. So I'm gonna use just any brow pencil. This is Ash Brown by Model Rocks. Now my eyebrows are quite different. This one is a lot more full, it's much more round, it's a little bit shorter. This one is a little bit more, like it comes down a little bit further in the front. It starts to get a little bit more angled, and then it's a tiny bit longer, and it's also a little less full. One trick that can be really helpful is using 2 mirrors. So in my bathroom, I have a mirror on like the regular wall above the sink, and then on the side, I have like a little medicine cabinet. So they're kind of angled, and I'll open up that mirror, and that way I can see like the reverse of what I typically see in the mirror, which helps me to fix these little uneven things. So that's one trick, because I'm looking at a mirror all the time. So that is how I'm seeing things. By reversing it and seeing what other people are seeing, it just kind of like helps you, it's like you're seeing things through a new lens. So it helps you to determine like little changes that you wouldn't normally see, things that you've kind of gotten used to seeing. So with this brow is a little bit more full, but I like to start with it because it's my favorite one. So I'm going to start by lining the bottom. And since I know that my other eyebrow is longer, I'm going to take this out a little bit further at the tail. So I'm starting by just lining that. Now I like the fact that it's a little bit more soft and round, which is why I like to fill this one first. Then I'm going to take a very light hand, because I know that this one's a little bit thicker and comes up. It's just like a little bit fuller up top, and this one isn't. So I'm going to keep it a little like below those hairs. And then when I get to the tail, or to the arch, sorry, I'm going to sharpen that because I know that this side is a little sharper. So I'm going to accentuate that arch, right? So already this is looking a little bit more like this one. And then I kind of do the opposite of this one. So I like to fill in that area and then kind of follow this, but try to follow the same shape that I created out here. So this one actually, the tail starts to come down a little bit more. So what I like to do is kind of like straighten it a little bit more, you know? And then I do it very lightly because it is quite sparse up here, but I'll very, very lightly try to thicken up this area. And then once again, at the arch, rather than going straight down and following that tail, I'm going to kind of bring it out a little, just to make it a little more straight. All right, so once I've drawn those out, I like to just kind of like brush them out. Now, if you guys have seen my other eyebrow tutorials, and I can link them below if you haven't, I typically do like finishing touches later on, but this is how I create the shape to begin with. So I'll start off by doing that, using those little like basics, and then I'll go in with a flat brush and some concealer. And I'm just going to once again start off with the eyebrow that I really like and just kind of define the bottom. Now this got a little thick, so I'm going to bring it up here and then kind of bring that out and then just diffuse. So I like that shape and kind of see like where I need to fix things. And that's typically what I use concealer for. Tilting your head down helps as well. You want to make sure that you're stepping back, you're looking close, but you're stepping back so that you can see how everything fits together. Now this one is angled down a little bit more. I brought this up a little high, so I'm going to cut that off there. Now I have a much more even guide for when I do my eyeshadow. That's it, guys. Let me know if there are other like features that you want me to even out, or show you how I even out. Yeah. Hope this helped. Let me know in the comments down below. Bye.